Pick the Nintendo Shack and pray. Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening says, yo.
Greetings, Koopalings! Welcome to this week's episode of the Nintendo Shack, rebooted, ready to go. Donnie, you're back!
Greetings, Koopalings! Good morning,
you have a friend
Rebecca.
behind you too.
Yeah, the cat's crawling all over me.
Donnie, I'm so excited. When Garrett said that he was stepping down, taking care of things in his life, I was, needing to find a new co-host. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Like, I'm going to have to stop Shack. We're just going to have to put it on hiatus. And I reached out to you and I told you, and you came back with the best news ever.
Give credit where credit's due. I think Delvin and Dev, but really Delvin. I got the word, and I understand like how you can feel that way, because I've said it for a while, especially folks listen to Sweet Hangs. Like, I just don't know how many like new hosts, I can continue to find and bring in. It's a lot of work. Not that it's super hard, but you got to find somebody that you trust, and you got to teach them how to do the things, and there's a growing period, and it's a lot. So when it all came down and you were like, you just have to maybe put it on break, or just maybe put it on, you were like, I could come guest on PSVG when there's like directs and stuff. And I was like, yeah, we can do that. And it has just been kind of like a sad, not sad, but I mean, it's just the way it's been going. PSVG like exploded years ago into all these different things. And just slowly as people move on, it's been like contracting back into itself. And I just told the guys, was like, yeah, it might just be time. Like, we're doing a really good thing over here. And Delvin was like, F that. Delvin was, he was adamant. He was like, you can't do this. He was like, dude, he's like, it's not even about listeners or popularity. He's like, this is about legacy. He's like, this is the Nintendo Shack. He's like, this is why I started listening to PSVG. He's like, this is why so many people started listening to PSVG. He was like, you can't. He's like, come on, man. Like, this is Nintendo Shack. You've got to do it. He said, I don't care if I have to do it with you. He said, if it's just got to be Donnie and Delvin for a while. Because I really didn't have, I could probably think of like a couple people, but I don't even know if they'd be interested, so I didn't have like a list to pull from.
Right. And I know people ask, like, are we doing auditions, whatnot. And if I had the energy to do that, I would have.
Right.
But just with everything going on, like, I'm busy and I don't know. I feel like a lot of people don't know I'm super introverted with like meeting new people. So when you convinced me, and
great. Yeah, because
I'm very glad
that enthusiasm for Shack kind of got me thinking. I was like, well, there's a lot to be excited for. There's a Zelda game coming soon.
There's a Zelda game coming.
Like, at some point we'll be talking about a new system. Like, there's a lot of things on the horizon, and we were talking. I was like, Shack once a month sounds terrible. Like, Shack is so much better than that, and it's had such a legacy. And like, I've been doing a little bit more Switch here lately, and I was like, you know what? Like, I get it. Rebecca maybe doesn't want to start with somebody new all over again. I was like, so why don't I just throw my hat into the ring? And I was like, and if she doesn't want to do it, then Delvin will do it. Like, it must go on. The show must go on. Like, yes. Shack has always been my baby, and I couldn't let it go. And when you guys started talking about the show last week, it really started making me feel kind of nostalgia about the show, because this show has been has done a lot, and I'm very proud of what it's done. And it's had a lot of people that's come through it, and we've all, I think, together collectively, we accomplished so much. And I hope that's reflective in kind of the new intro. That's kind of what I was going for. I was like, well, you know what? Let's get rid of all these clips of Mario and stuff, and like let's showcase like what Shack has been, because it's been a long time. Somebody the other day was like 2016, and it's 2023 now. Like, it's been a bit. So yeah, I'm happy to be back. in the shack again.
Yay!
And we're very
And
excited.
Sunday morning, good morning to everybody who is listening live. I will be rolling out of bed and podcasting with Donnie each and every Sunday morning, talking about Nintendo with my coffee, waking up.
Sure.
What a great way to start the day.
I think that was a big part for both of us. You know, we were talking about the scheduling.
Absolutely.
I feel bad for
Yeah.
anybody that's on the West Coast. I know it's early. I understand that it might be a change, but for both of us, like I didn't have another podcast till midnight, turn around and go back to work day in me. I do that once a
Yeah.
week on Wednesday, and trust me, Thursday sucks every week. You know, like I
think
didn't
that
have,
was
I
one of the
couldn't double down
reasons-
on that.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the reasons that made it hard for me and Garrett, since, you know, he was in Pennsylvania here with me and then moved over to the West Coast, and we did it for a whole year with the time difference. 3 hours doesn't sound like a lot, but when he's getting back from work, you know, and I'm kind of getting ready for bed, and
Yep.
you know, I have work the next morning, and he's just scrambling home from work, and
That's right, Yarden.
it was either it was either really late on a weeknight or, you know, taking away our Friday nights, and I think this is good. This is going to be a good thing for us.
Yeah, and I was excited. You know, I've noticed the show obviously because I still listen every week and everything. I noticed the show Friday nights and Saturdays and Sundays and Thursday. I was like, that was big. Like I was like, all right, Rebecca, we gotta get this show back on schedule. Like, so lock it in
Mhm.
every Sunday morning. You can wake up with us. This works great for my family schedule. They're not even here.
Mhm.
It gets me out of the bed on Sunday. I
gets
don't
me out of
sleep
bed.
in all morning.
I would still be sleeping right now if it weren't for this.
I was thinking to myself, I was like, I bet this is going to make my Mondays better. Like I may hate it on on Sunday mornings, but I bet on Monday I'll probably go to sleep a little earlier tonight and probably wake
good
up
point.
feeling a little closer to on schedule.
It's a good
So.
point. Man, I'm excited. This is going to be good.
This is great.
Yay. Well, Donnie, feel like it's been forever since I asked this. What have you been up to in the world of Nintendo?
Fire Emblem. So much damn Fire Emblem.
Yay, I'm so
reached-
glad you're enjoying it.
I reached the end this week. I clocked it in at 51 hours and some change.
Okay.
Some minutes, I don't remember, 27, 37, 57, something like that. Longer than I expected when I bought the game. This whole game has been kind of a surprise for me. I thought I knew what I was getting into, and I feel like I probably underestimated it a bit. When I first saw this game unveiled, I was like, oh, okay, they're taking some Fire Emblem Heroes stuff from mobile and they're making it a part of the game. That was like my big overarching, you know, if I had to elevator pitch it to somebody.
That was
and I
your
guess-
impression of it.
Yeah, it kind of is that, but it's not. Like this is a full-fledged Fire Emblem game, like completely, like start to finish.
Good.
It didn't feel like, I thought it was like a side. I mean, I guess you could probably call it a side story, but I wouldn't. This feels like this is a mainline like Fire Emblem game. It is.
Isn't it more Garrett and I were talking about it. Isn't it like a little bit more traditional than Three Houses was?
In the battling, absolutely. Yeah, in the
Yeah,
battling sense,
big.
that is probably the best thing that I would offer about it is for the first time in a long time, I am very careful with which units I bring into battle. I'm
Mhm.
very careful in not only where I move them, but which unit I attack in what order, which is classic Fire Emblem. Like that feels like a, you know, like a true to form, like a kind of getting back to the basics sort of thing. Because there are certain, you know, like you've got your weaknesses, you've got the weapon triangle and all that stuff too. But there are certain times where, you know, like I might be able to attack with somebody that's nearby. But if I bring an archer up and hit them first, and then bring somebody else up and hit them, and then I attack with the nearby unit, like that gets me to the kill, whereas the other one maybe wouldn't have. So I was just very, very like it was just I found myself paying way more attention to stats and like chess, thinking about what the enemy could do back to me. Where I never felt like that in Three Houses. I think I said that often. Probably my biggest complaint about Three Houses that I felt like in Three Houses, if you just kept your units together, you would win.
Yeah.
Like if you
Yeah.
just kept them close together, you would just brute strength, you know, like you could beat the whole game that way. And this game offers a little bit more. I did hear Garrett, some of Garrett's things he said last week, and he was earlier in the game. But there are monsters in the game where you have to break shields and stuff. And there are lots of different strategic elements to the maps. The maps are completely varied and different. Rebecca, it's a beautiful game. You know me, I
I'm
love a
so
pretty
glad.
game. I love a pretty game. It's so
do.
pretty. It's so shiny and colorful.
A lot of
Um,
people did not like the art style. I thought the art style looked awesome.
Yeah, I understand it's anime as hell. Like the whole game, like story,
Yeah, but it's
characters. I mean, it is just anime as can be, which I love. Like I
normally
this is
I don't
great.
like that. I just thought it looked very striking. I thought it looked very nice.
It is. Maybe the worst design is like it can be a little shimmery at times, but based on where I've seen some Switch games go, that could be the least of my concerns. I mean, this is a very beautiful game. The maps are very beautiful. The trees and the foliage that you see on the maps are very like lush. You'll see birds and stuff fly over the overworld map and things like that.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
cool.
a lot
The
of
little
little
details.
tweaks. Yeah, the little
Yeah.
details make the game come alive. I love having the overworld map back. I love having paralogs back. Like there's so many things that there's a reason why I haven't played Dead Space yet. I haven't gone back to Hi-Fi Rush yet. I haven't wanted to play anything until I completed Fire.
makes
That's
me
all I've
so
been
happy
doing for 2 weeks.
because
Just playing Fire.
feels like it's been a hot minute since a Nintendo game, like a Switch game, has really scored with you this well.
Yeah, definitely has. And it's the only thing, the load times are a bit much. There's a load screen between everything. So if you go into the ring room, there's a load screen. If you go to the Somniel, there's a load screen. You go to battle, there's a load screen. And the load screen's long. I don't know how long it is. If I had to guess, maybe 20 seconds. But if you hit it 6 times in a PlayStation, it feels like 5 minutes. You're like, come on. But outside of that, that's really my only con that I have about it. It's got amiibo support. The Somniel is cool. Like it's got outfits. The thirst is real. You can do bathing suits for everybody if you want to. I'm Ivy, Team Ivy, best waifu in the game.
Oh wait, I looked them up. I love Ivy. Ivy's really good.
She's the best. I did marry her. I didn't think there was relationship building, but as you start to play, like it does the very Fire Emblem thing where you can support a character and you can build up a support rank. And I was like, well, there's not like really because that was like a big thing kind of like around the preview coverage of this game was like, it's a little bit less of the Fire Emblem that you expect. Like the story is a little bit less. It's not like on the relationship building and stuff like that.
I think people were comparing it to Three Houses.
It's a lot closer to that because towards the end of the game, you definitely get like a packed ring and then you can propose to somebody. And it's like just like it's just a JPEG. Like it's nothing. It's not like games of yore, but it is there. And I was like, well, I proposed to Ivy. The ending of the game took me way longer than I expected. Like the last couple chapters, I thought I was going to be finished with this game on like Monday, and then I played a chapter for like an hour and a half.
I love that when like you think you're at the end of the game, and then like it just keeps giving and giving and giving.
It does.
In the end segment.
Yep. And the story, I won't spoil it for anybody, but I will wet the whistle here. You know, I feel like when the review coverage came out, people were like, the story doesn't matter and it's throwaway, and I understand that. Especially early on in the game, it's really derpy. It's kind of silly. There's like these stupid lines that they have. Like some of the dialogue isn't great, but about 60% through, game starts to change, and it really starts to go like full Fire Emblem. I'm talking like family betrayals, who's related to who, dimension hopping, afterlife. Like it just starts to go, and you're like I had to start writing down like characters and like their relationships to each other just to not forget. I'm like, wait a minute, who are these people? I will address one criticism. I was talking to some folks, Jace mainly on Twitter. They were talking that there's so many characters, you don't use them all. Like, is it too many? Is it just wasted? I always felt like, and I haven't played Awakening in a long time, so maybe I'm just a little off my game. I think I've always felt that about like every Fire Emblem game. Like there's like a core, like you get attached to like a core group of folks and you kind of just forget about the rest. I definitely felt that way in Three Houses for sure. I didn't care if you're on the other house. Like I was Team Edelgard. You could be like if you're the Lions or whatever, I didn't even pay attention to you for the rest of the game. But I definitely built a crew and I kind of stuck with my crew. You still get all the class customizations. So if you don't like characters, if they don't fit your playstyle, you can alter it. I definitely went very heavy like Wyvern and archers, especially archers on cavalry, because I like when my units can move quickly. I like to be able to cover a lot of ground quickly. It helps both in attacking and defense getting out of the way so you can heal and stuff like that. So I went that route for a large majority of my folks, and it helped me. The ending was tough. Now, I've always played Fire Emblem on normal difficulty, like whatever it comes out of the box with, and not on classic, not on permadeath.
Yeah,
So I like
that
my
would make
units
me so stressed.
Yeah, I could never. Yeah, I used to, and I was like, I can't do this. You kill my waifu, and I just want to quit the game. Like if that was
Yeah.
it, like, but
Leave
this
this
game
out.
doesn't. This game's normal, I guess, is easy. Like that's just out of
Oh,
the like
okay.
it goes normal, hard, and something else, I
Mhm.
guess. So I played on hard because I thought maybe that's like the medium difficult, like because I've always played on easy, normal, hard, right?
And you can change it as you go, or you're locked into
You
it.
can go down. I think you
Oh
can go
yeah,
down, but you
I
can't go
think they
up
said that. Yeah,
once you're
yeah,
locked
okay,
in.
okay.
And that was another reason I went hard because I
Right.
saw
You can
that. Like I
always
could
go
always
down.
drop it
Mhm.
down. I was able to finish, but I gotta tell you, the ending was hard. Like I was
Well,
struggling.
that's good. You wanted the challenge.
You do have the rewind mechanic, and I'll just cop to it. I used it a few times. Like it's like I didn't see that coming.
Why not?
Yeah, you get like a rewind stone, and you can rewind a couple, like limited. You can only use it so many times, but you can
Right.
bring it back a bit. But yeah, I loved it. It was great. It's one of my favorite games of the year so far. I
Good.
had a blast.
Yay.
I had a blast.
That's
It was
great.
fantastic.
Oh, good. Oh boy. Anything else you want to mention that you've been up to?
Oh yes, I do. You're gonna love this. So I bought this, I don't know, AliExpress Chinese knockoff thing that I saw. And so, I follow like the Nintendo YouTubers, and I started seeing this thing start to dance around.
Oh,
It's
no.
called the PhotoFast 4K Switch adapter, I think is like what it's called. Right. Like that look that you heard, like with the app. And I was like, this doesn't sound good. And the packaging looks real generic and stuff. I was
And
like,
so you
oh,
said, "Let's get it."
let's all in. I had some Amazon points, and there was a return, I guess, on Amazon because it's originally like, I think it's like 130 or 50 or $20 or something like that. And Amazon had a used one for like $80, and I had some coupons, so I got it for like $50. And what it is it's like the I had that other adapter, like the M Classic. You know what that thing is? You can plug your Switch into it, and it adds like a little polish to the game. So this is a Switch to 4K upscaler. This makes a significant difference. Now, I want to be clear, it's not going to make your games playing like it's going to send a 4K signal. That doesn't mean the resolutions are going to change. And it's not going to fix your frame rate, right? So like you can only do so much. But what it does is if anybody has a computer or like a new TV that has like a really strong like sharpening filter, it's basically that for your Switch. And it does make a difference. And the best that I can explain is a lot of times I've complained over the years. I hope a lot of people understand what I'm saying. The Switch typically, especially with ports at lower resolutions, kind of has like a hazy filter over it. It's kind of like a white sheen that you can do. And this basically gets rid of that. It basically just sharpens all of that out of the way. And you can look up comparisons on YouTube. You can look up screenshots. The best are like Breath of the Wild or Monster Hunter Rise.
Doesn't it make the edges look bad though?
It will. It'll make it edgier because you're sharpening an edgy picture that a lower resolution kind of smooths out because it's muddy.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have sharp edges and have a clear picture than having something that looks smoother and it's, a little that muddiness, especially in the distance when I'm looking at something like in Breath of the Wild. Like if you're looking at like the church or anything like that, you can't see any lines on the building at all until you start to get close to it. This puts that back. It's just like, here are the lines, and they may be edgy, but at least you can see them.
You can see them, yeah.
And it's made a huge difference because Bayonetta 3 was a game that I stopped playing because it's hard to look at. Like it's hard to look at, especially in handheld. And then when I put it on dock, when I originally played it, it just made the handheld version look bigger. I was like, oh god, this is not good. It adds a lot of sharpening to Bayonetta. Like it just, and it is a 4K signal. I've tested it on my LG C1. I get full 4K picture. Age of Calamity makes a big difference. Like I've tested this and done some screenshots. If anybody that's not in our Discord you haven't seen it, I posted some pictures of my phone of the TV picture, and
I
I've been
didn't see it. I'll
enjoying
have
it.
to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
wouldn't say I'd recommend it to everybody, but if you're somebody that's like really sensitive to that and spending $100 to make that go away to get that little bit extra, if that's worth it to you, then I mean, I've really enjoyed it. Like at this point, more so than ever before, I play my Switch mainly docked because of that. Like I'm like, just put it in the dock and I'll get as much as I can out of the system until we get to the next one. And I started replaying Bayonetta 3 yesterday, and the results were so promising. I was like, I think I can finish this now. Like let's get back into Bayonetta.
Are you gonna give it another chance?
I think so. Yeah, I think that'll be like my next thing. I'm playing something else that I'm gonna save for a question that I know we got, but I'm
Whoa,
playing something else
okay.
that I'm having a blast with.
Good.
But I'll
Good.
save it for later. But I think after that, I think I might play some more Bayonetta.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yep. That's like awesome how one little fix like that can change your enjoyment of it.
And you know me, like I'm into pixel count. You know, like I'll pay attention to those even small details. And so for me, it helped. If you're somebody that's like, I don't even notice those things, then
I don't even notice those things.
Yeah, I don't think that's for
that would be
you,
a good purchase for you. Definitely not for me.
And then Joy-Cons. I've talked about this on PSVG for a couple weeks.
Oh,
These are the
Gengar.
new Split Pad Pro compacts.
Okay,
I love these.
they're
These
pretty.
have made a world of difference. So if you've ever played with the Hori Split Pad Pros, these are a revision to those, and I like them for a couple reasons specifically. The first reason, they sit flush with the Switch. The Hori ones don't. They sit up here and there's like an indentation to the Switch, and I hated that. The second reason, the buttons are clicky.
They're clicky.
I like clicky buttons. The old buttons were smushy, and I never liked that feeling. I never liked that feeling. So these have been great. Another great investment that have kind of got me back into the Switch of late. My little dock and my little Joy-Cons, and I'm back to business, back to playing.
Good. I have been diving into my Switch, playing a couple things, starting with GoldenEye 007 that just recently came to the Nintendo Switch Online. I had never played this game before. I had heard about it. You know, everybody is so nostalgic for it. The multiplayer,
Never.
whatnot. Never.
Wow.
Like, I've obviously seen it, but I have never played it myself.
You're in for a treat.
So yeah, and then when it came out and everybody was talking about, oh my gosh, like people are gonna find out that it just doesn't like live up, like it's all nostalgia, it doesn't age
Spoilers.
well.
Those people are just wrong. Game is great.
So I was nervous, but what I did was I didn't jump into the single player because all I've ever heard was about how great the multiplayer was in this game. So what I did was I got a group of people together and decided to try out the multiplayer. And everybody's talking about how confusing the controls are. So instead of confusing myself with Switch Pro controller controls, I decided to play on the N64 controller.
Beautiful.
As God intended.
Nope, absolutely not. C buttons for movement.
I don't know how you, I mean, yes, that's weird in 2023, but
it was weird then.
I get it. I think I get it. Like, yes, this didn't have dual sticks. Like, I feel like this was the best that they could do given this controller. I don't really think that like
I mean, you're right.
It took a while to get used to. I was like looking at the ceiling for half of the time, like in the beginning, like stuck in a wall.
I always use it. It's like a strafe button. If you think of it more of like a strafe button instead of a stick, it's not nearly as bad.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I found myself like instead of moving, sideways too much, just use it as like a walk forward button, look around. Like I got used to it pretty quickly. It only took like 10 minutes, for me to get used to it.
Sure.
I was still not very good, but oh my God, multiplayer, that game is so much fun. I don't know what people are talking about. Like, I know I'm a little bit more, I can jump into older games better than a lot of people can, just because I play a lot of them. I like them better than most people do. But all the people who are saying like, if you didn't grow up with this, you can't enjoy it. Like, it's just didn't age well. They're wrong. I played with two people who also were new to the game and one who was like a pro, like amazing at it. And I was surprised at how well, like how many options there were with the multiplayer. Like it wasn't just like one or two options that you would see like multiplayer being tacked on back. You know how back then it would be like the main mode is like single player, whatever. And then here's like a little multiplayer mode, like a little multiplayer mini game or something. It felt like we had tons of options. Like we were playing for 2 hours and there were still settings that we didn't get to.
So I was going to ask,
there's so many.
Were you hosting?
Yes.
Have you ever played the campaign at all?
No, I've never played ever touch it.
You didn't have like lasers or paintball or big head mode or anything.
Yeah, nothing was real. Nothing was unlocked.
Yeah.
So it was just all the default stuff.
All the stuff that you were like,
it would have been even better.
It gets so much better.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know anything about slappers only.
No, that is default. You could.
So you did play that. Nice. Okay.
We did do that. We did like all throwing knives at one point.
Yes.
We did rocket launchers.
Very
like,
good.
oh my God,
it
was so funny. We were laughing so hard. It's just so ridiculous. I had a ton of fun with that. I don't really care about the single player. I would only do it to unlock stuff if I can.
Hang on a second. Let me tell you, it's a great campaign. It's a lot of fun.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure
it's a lot of fun. It's super, like, as dumb as it looks in multiplayer, it stays that way in single player. But there are different difficulty modes that give you different objectives, and knocking off all the objectives is very satisfying. Like you've got to go and destroy all the alarms or kill people or beat the level and so fast. And it is fun.
I do like that kind of stuff
when you unlock like lasers and paintball and big head mode, and it just gets real dumb real fast. And it's one of my, I love the game for the single player. I'm not one of those people. It's like I just played it endlessly with friends because I didn't have friends to play with. I played that game endlessly alone and love it for it. So I haven't got back to it yet. I played like just one mission just to get, my bearings. But once I get some of these other games done, I will.
Does it have third person or is it all first person?
First person.
Yeah. Okay. Because it makes me a little bit dizzy, first person.
There's a third person one though. I think it was on 64. If not, it had to be GameCube. There is a sequel that came out. There's a 007 third person one that came out. I think memory serves. I mean, chat maybe correct me on that. I think there was a third person. It's very different though. But it still has like those missions that you like collect things or you like check off objectives, but it is third person. It's a little bit different. It's not as fun like the 007 is remembered for. Yeah.
So yeah, I had a blast with it. I definitely want to play it again multiplayer. Maybe I'll try out the single player campaign just to, try it out. I think I would enjoy it.
There it is. Everything or nothing is third person.
Okay. Yeah, so it definitely lived up to what I was hoping it would be and more. And also, I am now, officially as of yesterday, replaying Breath of the Wild to prepare myself for Tears of the Kingdom. I'm so glad I'm doing this, but I'm doing it with a twist. I don't know if you saw, I posted on Twitter what the twist is for it, because I decided like I want to replay it. I knew that, but and I'm streaming it too. And
is this your first replay?
So I will always go back to the game and like jump in, and do some stuff, do some side quests and whatnot.
But it's your first in earnest replay.
Yeah, I started a master mode playthrough. I didn't really get that far just because I don't know. I was probably playing other stuff at that time. But this is my first, like, I'm gonna sit down and replay it from start to finish. But I want to do it with a twist. I want to make it like my own challenge. And so you're gonna laugh at this. I'm doing a pacifist playthrough as my challenge.
Is that even possible?
Yes. So I'm gonna obviously kill Ganon at the end, and I decided I'm gonna kill the Blight Ganons at the end of the Divine Beasts, but I'm not killing any enemies. I'm not killing any animals.
You'll fight bosses.
Yes. Yeah. Anything that's like an extension of Ganon is fair game. But I'm not killing guardians. I'm not killing animals for me. I'm not collecting bugs to make potions.
No tests of strength or anything.
No test of strength shrines. So I can't complete every shrine. I have to find shrines that I don't kill things. I'm like pretty much dropping every weapon that I have just so I don't accidentally like go into autopilot and kill stuff. And so far I've done one play session with it so far yesterday. I got off the plateau. I did 4 more shrines. I
How
got my
did you get
horse.
how did you get to the shrine in the snow?
I did the recipe where I cooked the hot chili. I did the chili peppers, cooked those, got the cold resistance for like 10 minutes. And then if you go to the very top of the mountain, the old man is waiting up there for you and he gives you the warm doublet for free.
Oh, I never knew that. That's brand new to me. I was like, you have to
Mhm.
kill the fish to make the
Mhm.
recipe to get the doublet. Oh, that's interesting.
Yep.
Wow.
Nope. Didn't
Still
do that.
finding out new things about the damn game.
Yeah. So I did do a little Googling beforehand. I think some other people have done this kind of thing. You can see on YouTube, people have tried pacifist playthroughs of it, and it does work. There are shrines that have enemies that I can run past. I know people were
Did you kill
debating
trees?
like what counts. Guardians shouldn't count because they're not alive, they're robots, and I'm counting guardians. I'm not killing those. This is a vegetarian playthrough, not a vegan playthrough. So I am I'm killing trees, I'm eating berries, whatever. I don't know. But uh yeah, trees don't, they're not sentient. So
I don't
they're
think I'll
vegan.
replay Breath of the Wild before Tears of the
See,
Kingdom.
I'm glad that I am. Like, if you've done a replay within the past, 2 years or whatever, I get that. I
I've
haven't
beaten the
really.
game 4 times.
Yeah, then you're fine. I feel like I haven't really dove deep into this game since like 2018 or so.
Gotcha.
So it's been a while. I'm like trying to remember all the mechanics. I had to like remember what's my jump button. Like
Sure.
it wasn't coming naturally to me because it's been so long. So I'm trying to have it be natural to me again. And then also just like remembering the little things. I, had forgotten that I could teleport to the top of the Sheikah Towers. Like I was that idiot that climbed all the way back up just because I forgot.
And
those
chat didn't
things.
stop you.
It's
They were like,
so
you don't
long.
have to do this.
Well, somebody in my chat was like, Rebecca, are you also not like, they asked, is this a teleportation free run too? I'm like, no, I can teleport. Like, why wouldn't I do that? Like, as I'm climbing the tower.
You're making stamina meals. Like, I gotta get to the top.
Yeah. So yeah, my chat likes to torture me, and I'm sure they will continue to do so. But that's my own little personal challenge. I'm going to be doing that every Saturday on stream just to kind of get ready for it, and it'll probably take me through most of February, and then that'll give me a couple months in between before it comes out in May. I'm so excited. Less than 100 days.
I've been feeling the Zelda itch of late. I think I'm going to play Ocarina. I think that's what I'm going to do. Because I've been feeling it, and I was dabbling with Twilight, and just like Wind Waker, I'm like, but if they do it, I'm going to be mad at myself. I can never let that go in my head. I'm like, if I play it, I'm going to kick myself when they announce it. I think I'm going to do Ocarina. I think I'm going to play Ocarina.
I'm due for a replay of that game. It has been so long. I have been itching to play that too. I might do that kind of casually, just kind of whenever I feel like picking it up. I feel
like, so for me, Breath of the Wild, amazing game, but the thing that I think put Breath of the Wild in focus with me when it comes to like my favorite games forever was that the replays never quite felt the same. Like once you kind of know what to do and where everything is, it does lose a bit of that, obviously that discovery and everything, you start to see the game. It's like you see the Matrix for the first time. It's like you just start to see the game for what it is. So yeah, I don't think I would replay it again. I think I'm good. I want to go into Tears of the Kingdom kind of the opposite. Like I would like to be a little out of touch and a little out of speed, maybe, to be like, that's right. This is over here, like maybe something like that.
Well, I guess it really depends, like how much of it is going to be the same, how much of it is going to be totally brand new. I think that'll be interesting for sure. For me, I feel like definitely there's no way that the magic can ever be recaptured ever in a second.
It's gonna be tough.
That game.
What a bar.
Ever.
Like this is.
Oh
is
my
this,
gosh! Yeah.
I was thinking about this last night. I was getting prepared for Shaq, trying to get in the right mindset. I told you before the show, kind of nervous. I don't know if it's like it's like nervous energy. It's like excitement. Like I feel the same way when I'm about to like publicly speak. Like I'm kind of like twitchy. But I was thinking last night, is this the most anticipated Nintendo game ever?
No, I think Breath of the Wild is more anticipated. just
Okay.
because we didn't know anything. It was a really brand new feeling. I think at least with this
Definitely
game,
launched
like
the
we have a
system.
base for new system. Shine. It was like the pitch for it was reinventing the conventions of Zelda.
I guess you're right. I wasn't even thinking about the original. I was just thinking of like, I guess I was in a mindset of like sequels. Like if
Mm.
there's anything outside of, I was thinking like, was there a Mario game or, like any of those other games that have ever, like definitely wasn't for like Majora, or like, Galaxy 2 or anything. I never felt like the hype for this. And I guess also
For a
even
sequel,
outside
I
of,
would say the most hyped sequel.
yeah, and even outside of like fan excitement, just like the bar, like the expectation is just, I feel like I don't know. I feel like
Mhm.
it probably just can't be reached. Like the bar is just so high that whatever they do there'll always be somebody that's like, yeah, it's fine, but it's not as good as the first one.
For me personally, if it has the same kind of magic feeling as the first game, but brings back some of the traditional elements that I missed, like the themed dungeons, like the real dungeons, is I think the biggest thing for me. I really
Okay.
want to see that back. I
I'd like to
feel like
see some more music. Like I don't
I
mind the
like the
music of
music
Breath of
in
the
Breath of
Wild,
the Wild.
but
I feel like I'm in the minority. I love it.
I could use like some more distinctive themes from the
Yeah, I
music.
get that.
More
We
prominent
might get
music.
that this time
I
because
would
it's
like
not
that.
so out in the wild. It's not, I don't know. I
Yeah,
think we will.
that'd be
But
nice.
I'm excited. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot more as the weeks go on. Who knows? We might be talking about it more in depth
Soon.
next week. We'll see. We'll see. Let's jump into this week's news in Nintendo. We got some good stuff here going on. I feel like we're finally, the year's going, the rumors are flying. We're in it. Starting with some, I think, maybe not great news, but probably to be expected news that Nintendo is skipping E3 this year. I don't know if it's been confirmed, but that's like the hot off the press rumor. It's probably true, but it's not just Nintendo. Sony and Microsoft are supposedly skipping it as well. This
Microsoft is across the street, apparently. I don't count that as skipping. If Microsoft is there and they're letting people play things and they're doing digital direct, like they're not skipping it. They're there.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently, like Jez came out the next day and was like, I've been talking. Apparently, Microsoft plans to open the Microsoft Theater and they're going to do their thing. So
We're here, but we're not associated with
yeah,
you.
like we're not doing the Reed Pop, but they're across the street. Like that doesn't count.
And then Nintendo will have a direct in June. Oh no, we're not doing E3, but here's what we would have done if.
Ooh. So I remember I asked you and I asked Sean and I asked Jeff and I was asking all my Nintendo podcasters last year, do they do a Nintendo Direct in June? And like they didn't, right?
I don't remember.
I don't think they did. I think they waited. And I'm not I am just of the belief that I'm not sure that we can just pencil them in for that anymore.
When I say June, I'm talking around that early summertime.
Okay. All right.
End of May.
I mean, you're probably right.
June.
I don't want to say you're not, but I was definitely getting I remember I kept thinking of it last year. I was like, it was like March and I was like, are we sure they're doing that direct? And I kept asking, I was like, are you sure? April, May? Are we sure? And it didn't.
Well,
and I'm wondering if they just want to maybe get away. Like, I'm wondering if that doesn't fit their cadence that they want. Like we start to see this, like they have a cadence, right? They like to do something in the spring. They like to have a big one in the fall. I'm wondering if maybe that just doesn't fit the timing that they want.
It might not, because now the rumors bouncing off of them skipping E3 is that they're going to have a light year this year. That VGC is saying, quote, I understand Nintendo feels it doesn't have enough major releases ready to show that would justify significant event space. IGN coming with confirming it, saying that it's going to be a light second half of the year. Don Robb wrote in asking what our thoughts are about Nintendo skipping E3 due to a light lineup in the second year. I think a lot of people are panicking about this, and I don't think there's any reason to panic, like, in my opinion.
I think
a light year is not. I think they'll still have stuff to show off. You know, we know that Pikmin's coming this year. I know that's a lighter release. That's not one of their big heavy hitters, but we already know some stuff that's coming out. We know they're going to have some kind of holiday title. I don't know. I feel like it's time to see something Mario. There's no way they're going to miss a Mario game this year with the Mario movie tie-in. We have a freaking Zelda game coming out this year. Like, I don't know.
I think this quote is asinine. Like this quote that all the headlines are running with, they don't have enough games to justify a release. That's ridiculous.
No, I don't.
I don't think anybody from Nintendo would ever say that, ever.
No.
Like, two, like they could have, at the very least, they could have an F-Zero or a Metroid remake, a port, and that would be enough to justify putting out some kiosks for people to play on. Like, Nintendo fans get excited for the craziest of things. I don't think they need to have 8 Mario games to justify having an event space. We've seen them at E3 in more lean years. Now, the idea that this might be a lean year for Nintendo after Breath of the Wild, I don't think is a far pitched. That's not a crazy expectation. At some point, we expect them to begin to migrate to the next thing. Their next system.
People in chat bringing up there's going to be Pokemon DLC to look forward to. There's going to be Splatoon DLC this year.
Exactly.
There's stuff coming, but you're right. This is, I think, the time where they're starting to wrap up. We're going to see new hardware next year. I feel like at this point for sure. But that doesn't mean there's not going to be games.
I honestly think I was thinking this last year, and I know that the E3 thing got canceled and stuff, but even before it all did, they were still out. I just feel like this might be Nintendo kind of using this opportunity to detach from the E3 expectation. That's what I'm starting to feel like. I'm like, I wonder if that's more their thing. Like, it's like, we just don't want to do that anymore. We don't want our fans and our customers to expect that we will be there. So we're just detaching from this.
Yeah. And I think it's especially easy for them to say that if their competitors are saying the same thing.
Kind of like PlayStation.
Feel like they need to. Yeah, they don't feel like they need to be there to hold their own and make a name for themselves there. Yeah. I would not worry about this, guys. I think late lineup, that's nothing to be scared of.
Sure.
Nintendo, I just read this morning, wins their Switch Joy-Con drift class action lawsuit. Remember that was a thing that's been going on. People were very angry about their Switch Joy-Con drift. They wanted to sue Nintendo, but Nintendo wins because they were able to prevent the case from going any further. Man, I don't know how this is legal. In the Switch's end user license agreement, you know, that thing that you have to sign when you boot up your Switch, all that text that nobody reads, you have to click agree. It disallows lawsuits and requires parties involved to enter a legal arbitration.
Yeah.
So what you can say is when you put out a product is in the fine print, you can't sue us. And that holds up. What?
Yeah. That's been a thing for a long time. Yeah. You got to enter arbitration. People do this. A lot of companies will do this like with employees that like want to leave. Like they'll say, you can't sue us under your contract. Like if we honor your contract, you can't sue us. You have to come into a legal arbitration with a mediary. And that's your only recourse. So
that seems like a big loophole.
It's a proper way of doing business. They didn't come up with it. It's been a thing that people have done for decades. So
whatever.
I mean, did everybody want to sign on to the class action lawsuit to get your nickel? Everybody gets a nickel for Joy-Con drift. Here's your nickel.
It's the principle of the matter, not the nickel. Anyway. There was a new trailer for the Super Mario Bros. Movie that showed off Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong voice, and they put out the official poster, which looks gorgeous. Are you excited for the Mario Bros. Movie, Donnie?
This is where Heel Donnie returns. No, I told you this. We were on Shack together last year, and I told you I'm not excited. But now here's the thing. You told me you weren't excited for it. So
I was not excited, but I'm on board.
You've been won over. Yeah, you've been won over. I haven't. I have got to be the only Nintendo fan customer in the world that doesn't care about this at all.
I think you are.
I am. Yeah, I think my kids are gonna watch it.
Yeah, you're gonna go take Jack to see it.
I'm not gonna. We're not going to the theater to see this. I'll see it when it comes home for streaming or something. I'm not gonna. There's a lot of movies I want to go see in theaters this year, like way more, like 10. and this is not
Wow.
making the cut. Like, I'm very excited to see a lot of movies, but this is not.
I
gonna
don't
be
think I'll see this in theaters. I don't need to see it that badly,
Every
but I do
time
want to
they
see it.
talk, I cringe. I'm just like, oh, I can't.
What?
I can't get over it every time. Everybody, everyone. It just doesn't. I don't. It just doesn't jive with me. It's too much. I can't.
So what you're saying is you would rather see the live action Mario Kart HBO that premiered on SNL last night. We were
Now
just
we're
talking
talking.
about this morning.
That looks like a damn
Guys,
movie.
if you haven't seen this, on SNL last night, they had Pedro Pascal, who is the lead Joel in the Last of Us HBO series, who does a wonderful job, by the way. They had him on SNL, and one of the skits was Mario Kart is coming to HBO as a new series. And they had Pedro Pascal as Mario. They had somebody playing Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach. They had
incredible.
somebody playing, it was like gritty, and like Luigi comes in and like says the F word, and like there's like a little Mario bleep over it.
How did
It's
they
like,
outdo the actual movie? How did the actual movie get outdone by an SNL skit? That movie I want to see. That movie looks
oh,
incredible.
it's so good. It's so good. You can see it's on, I know it's kind of circulating Twitter right now. It's probably on YouTube, but I was laughing so hard. They really
Oh,
nailed it. Really
yeah.
high budget for a skit, I feel like.
My wife
and,
said it was their
really good.
best skit that they've done since the mom Christmas robe skit from like 3 or 4 years ago.
I believe it.
So she loves
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very good. The Switch got a small eShop update this week. It's the first update in years. They added so when you're searching for games, now instead of it all coming up in a list in one column, it now shows up in 2 columns. Yay, that's exactly the update that we wanted.
Saw that.
Not, yeah, Nintendo works in mysterious ways. Why do this now? Who knows?
It's a bit snappier.
Okay.
No, I was surfing. The only reason I was surfing yesterday, so I was like, "This is nice." Yeah, there is still no music. I do miss those. They used to have some bangers on Wii U. Those
There's
holiday
no
themes.
Organization. There's no discovery. There's no, like, it's just bad.
I've typically moved to just using the website. I very rarely use the eShop on my Switch. I did yesterday, but most of the time I just go to the website and just search for what I'm wanting to buy.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
use other websites.
Hmm.
Also returning is, do you remember the Switch game vouchers? They're
I
coming
do.
back to North America. You can buy a pair of game vouchers for $100 USD. And that lets you redeem 2 digital games, mostly first party games or Nintendo published, kind of second, third party games in there. Ultimately, you're saving $20 if you buy 2 $60 games at full price.
Yep.
I know a lot of people like this voucher thing.
This is a Switch Online only thing, right?
Oh,
You
yeah,
have to
you'll
be a
have to be a
subscriber.
Switch Online member. Yep.
I was planning on letting my Switch Online lapse, and this is like the biggest, I think, pull to not. I really want to take advantage of this, but obviously I want Tears of the Kingdom to be included. It's not at the moment, and I don't know if it will be. I think when they open up, you think it will be? Because
Yeah.
if it is, then I'll actually subscribe, even if it's just for like 3 months or whatever. I'll subscribe just to take advantage of this, because I would like to buy maybe this and Bayonetta or this and Kirby together and just lock in right away. That sounds great. But I like the vouchers.
Wait, don't you have Bayonetta?
The upcoming one, the little
the Cereza,
kitty, whatever that is.
Okay. Yeah. I think this is a good deal, considering that first party games really don't go on sale that much. So
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
they do.
if you're able to get them on sale for under $50, like, that's the better deal. But that rarely happens. So yeah, the vouchers is a good deal for digital buyers.
Yep.
Donnie, I really want to talk about this next one with you. You saw, I mean, we've talked already about the disappointment that is Sports Story. We
Correct.
don't really need to continue to talk about the game itself, but you remember seeing that secret dev room that you could glitch yourself out of bounds, walk to it, and it was really concerning because it was a room that had all the developers in, their character form, and they were talking about how the working conditions are so stressful and the game's vision has gotten lost, and deadlines are passing and they're overworked and things just aren't going to plan.
Yep.
And this story circulated. We talked about it. I reported on it with Twinfinite. I've seen it reported all over websites, talked about it on Twitter. In one of Sports Story's recent updates, the room is now patched. You can still get there the same way, but all of the dialogue has been changed to reflect the opposite state of development, the opposite tone. There's dialogue that suggests development's been going great. They're ahead of schedule. All the employees are so well rested. Everything's under control. There's no problems here. Oh boy. Nintendo Life reached out to Sidebar Games for a comment on this, and I thought maybe they would never receive a reply, but they received a reply. Let me quote. Unfortunately, we were unable to comment on the origins of the secret dev room. Efforts are being made to remove it from the game, but it has proved difficult due to the way the game is programmed.
It's a big
Tell
FU
me,
as somebody
Donnie.
walked out on this game.
Somebody got fired. Yeah, somebody
Yep.
totally got fired. Holy crap. I have never seen a bigger cry for help from developers than this room.
Oh, okay. I mean, I honestly just think it's like again, it's just a big FU. They just didn't like the way it was going. They weren't on board with the vision and the plan, and they kind of had their own little rebellion. I mean, obviously you'd think that you would just patch
That's
it
a
out,
horrible
block it
sign.
off.
That's
The fact that
yeah.
it's been programmed into some sort of necessary woven part of the code, as somebody who does
wanted
some
this to
light
be seen.
as somebody who does some light dev code, is the most badass thing. Like, that is so cool.
Somebody wanted this to be seen. They wanted
But
people to find it. They
yeah,
wanted it to be known what the conditions were like.
the fact that they wrote it over it is worse. They should have just left it alone. If they had left it alone, it wouldn't have been a story anymore. That has already come and gone. Like,
Yeah.
until they could have found a way to patch out the glitch, they should have just left it be. The fact
Yeah,
that they
'cause
tried
now
to
we're talking about
overwrite
it
it with
again.
that's worse. Because that looks guilty.
It
Like-
does.
Like,
Because
that's
I did
way,
see-
way worse.
I did see some people being like, oh, this is just like a joke. Like, this isn't supposed to be serious. They're just kind of picking fun at like bad development or whatever. I never thought that. I always thought this is the developers saying, oh no, like
Yeah, I
things
would
are
as
on
well.
fire here. And
The
now,
game reflects
now
that.
it is.
The game reflects.
Yeah.
I mean, we often use it about all kinds of games that fail to reach expectations, but this game just screams too many ideas. They just had too many ideas, and they tried to put them all into one thing, and it just came out as something almost incoherent. Like there's a lot of stuff to do, but none of it works well together, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. Having played the game, it's just like, why are we doing all of this?
I think a big AAA dev would have had a hard time putting together such a big game with so many ideas, let alone a little indie studio.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's really a shame. And
they got away from what made them great. And this is so sad because they could have easily done Golf Story 2. They could have done Tennis Story, Hockey Story, Soccer Story. This could have been a whole franchise. You could have been making these for a decade. And now they'll have a hard time selling their next game at all.
Yeah.
The next time
and
we
I
hear
feel
from
bad for the
Sidebar
devs
Games,
too. The devs who were passionate came on board, because they love Golf Story. They wanted to, I don't know. Yeah, it sucks.
I mean, as somebody, this is one of my most anticipated games for years.
I know.
And it took me 3 hours to be like, this ain't it. This is just, I don't know what this is, but it isn't what I was hoping for at all. No. As I said on PSVG, I thought it was funny. They had me going around looking for fucking oranges. I was like, what am I doing? They're like, go find 5 oranges. Oh, God.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. And I don't know. I just wanted to talk about it. I wanted to mention it just because I do feel for the developers, and nobody deserves to be working under that kind of conditions, and then for it to be a product that they can't even be proud of.
Like, it's not surprising. The game was announced, and then it was delayed for 2 years without a word.
Yeah.
And then it was like, we're coming out soon, and then it was like, where is it? And it's like, it's out today. I wasn't like that whole. Was it December? That whole December where I kept tweeting every day. I was like, this game is not like It was
concerning.
I was expecting it was going to be bad. I was like, this isn't good. This is not how you market a game. It was like the opposite of that.
Yeah. It's almost like they didn't want a lot of attention on it because they're like, oh no, people are going to play this and hate it.
Yep.
Let's preserve our reputation. Okay. MLB The Show is confirmed coming out on Switch on March 28th, the day after my birthday.
Have you ever played the show on Switch?
I was gonna say this isn't the first the show on Switch, right? Is this
I think
like
this is
the
the
second
third.
or third?
Yeah, I think this is the third one.
Yeah. No,
gonna
I
do that-
haven't, but I know that this is the best baseball franchise.
They're gonna do that stress test again where you can try it. So you can like play the
Oh.
online mode.
Oh, I might do that.
I really liked it. It's coming to Game Pass. I've only ever played it on Xbox. I never played the Switch version. It's the previous ones that come out when I've saw footage of them that did not look great. But it's a major third party release, which is why I thought it was worth including.
It says 23.
Yeah, and I think
Who's on the cover?
it's some dude I've never heard of from the Marlins. But there's a Derek Jeter version where it has like a
Ooh,
graphic
worse.
version of Derek Jeter on the front, the Captain
Even
edition.
worse.
I'm interested. The reason I think it's notable is it'll be interesting to see if we get this direct how many third-party games are coming, because there are a few like standouts. The Hogwarts game I think is coming to Switch. There's a couple Dragon Quest games that are coming to Switch. The Final Fantasy remasters are coming to Switch. But like as we go through the years, as we go through the rest of this year, I'm expecting less and less and less ports and third-party games. What about you?
Probably. Yeah. I would think so. Because I think they'll be moving their efforts towards whatever's coming next.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily expecting a lot of Ubisoft support or EA support or stuff like kind of moving forward. So this might be kind of the tail end of the releases.
I'll try out the stress test. Tears of the Kingdom is now fewer than 100 days away. We are in the site of it.
Home stretch, final countdown.
Yeah, home stretch. I'm very excited. I just wanted to say that because I'm probably not going to shut up about that game as we get closer and closer.
Oh, I mean, I'm very so. I told you this was just a few weeks ago, but I told you that I was planning on skipping it because in my head at the time of our New Year's show, at the time I was like, "There's probably a new Switch coming. If I just wait 6 or 8 months, I can play it for the first time on new hardware."
I yelled at you.
You did, and rightfully so, because like 2 weeks after that show, everybody starts talking about there is no Switch coming. Like this is it. They're going to sell 20 million of these. There's nothing coming. And then I won a contest on Twitter. It gave me a free $100 eShop gift code.
Was it Fudo?
Yeah, and I was like,
I
I'm all back in now. Now, like if there's no
him.
new Switch coming, there's no point in waiting. So, and I probably would have jumped in anyway, like because it's a Zelda game and it is,
I knew you would.
Like you, I love a Zelda game, but I wanted to tell myself, like, if you just show a little self-patience, just a little, like you can do this better. And then once Jeff was like, yeah, there's no Switch coming, I was like, oh, my whole plan is being ruined. But I'm excited. I've officially, now that I'm back in, I've officially started to let myself get excited. Like I'm starting to watch some of the Zeltic videos and I'm starting to retweet some of the things and I'm starting to get back into it. And I said, I've been feeling that Zelda itch and
I knew you would. I knew this would happen. I'm going to be honest. It happened sooner than I thought it would, but I'm glad that it did.
Yeah. And I'm very excited to like the fact we're going to be playing a Zelda. And I mean, if this Zelda is like Breath of the Wild, I mean, I played Breath of the Wild for months. Like that was it. That's all I was playing. So I took time off to play the game.
Yeah.
So
this and Sea of Stars will get me through the year. I don't even need anything else.
Nice.
That's all I need.
Nice.
That being said, there are direct rumors flying as things normally go end of January, beginning of February. Things that are guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and direct rumors in February.
Yeah, it's true.
Grub is saying that he's hearing things. Rumors are swirling about a new Mario Sluggers baseball game. Walmart, Best Buy, Amazon Canada, EB Games, they've started relisting the long-delayed Advance Wars 1 and 2 reboot camp. I still am in denial. I'm in denial. That game, I'm in denial about it.
Oh, it's coming.
There
seems to be an open window, like what, in April?
There's a lot of open windows in the year.
We get what? We're getting Kirby, and then we get Cereza, and then nothing, right? Advance Wars. Better believe it.
Okay. Garrett writes in, Want to hear
Who?
your rumored? Who? Want to hear your rumored direct predictions? What do you expect? What do you want to see? What is? So, he stole this format from me. I tweet this every time there's a direct. What are you expecting? What do you want to see? What is something unbelievable, unexpected that you want?
Damn, he left you and then took your format.
Man,
Cold-blooded killer, that Garrett Bland.
I kind of expect there to be where they're like, we are so excited to launch Tears of the Kingdom this May. We aren't going to say anything in this direct, but look forward to a Tears of the Kingdom direct later in February.
Oh, interesting. You think they're going to announce an announcement?
Yeah.
I think they're going to show off that Switch that we've seen. I think they're going to show it.
Oh no, I think that's fake. You think that's
I think
real?
it's real. I do.
I think it's fake.
You remember what I said in the Discord? The thing that I think gives that leak the most credibility is that it's just lame enough that I think that's what Nintendo would make. Like, it is just so kind of bland. I'm like, that fits. Like, that really, I totally could see Nintendo making this. Like, I feel like a fan would have made a much better system.
Or it's a smart person who knows that it would be more believable if it's like that.
True. Very true. But yeah, look, there is a system. There absolutely is. There's no way in hell they launch this game without a system. And the game, like you said,
but why would it be ready in a box already by now? Like, I feel like
they're probably manufacturing.
Yet. Really?
Think about it. The game is 90 days away. They have to start, like, if they have a system to launch, because here's the thing. I expect that they'll probably try to launch the system ahead of the game a little bit.
You're right. They'll do like 2 weeks ahead.
So if they have a system launch, which they absolutely do, because this is a Zelda game, then they have to show a system soon. Like, they can't wait that much longer, because if they wait that much longer, they're going to start shipping them.
Yeah.
So I think there's a system. I absolutely think there's a system, and I think
there is too. I just don't think it's that one. We'll see.
Well, it may not. Hopefully, if it's a better one, then I reserve the right to trade up and get it. If it's that one, I'm absolutely not buying that. Zero interest. It's like, this is the most mid-tacular Switch console that I could imagine for a Switch, and that made me think that Nintendo came up with it. I was like, yep, that makes sense. But yeah, I think that would be like my lowest level stuff. I think Advance Wars and whatever that Switch is, I think should be like the absolutely that's coming. That's what I'm expecting.
I'm trying to think of what else I expect.
I expect a lot.
Next Mario Kart DLC wave.
We were right on the same line. I was going to say I expect a lot of DLC. Mario Kart's getting DLC. Fire Emblem should get DLC. Pokemon should get DLC.
Pokemon will be in its own direct for Pokemon.
That's a good
Day.
call. Yeah,
that's not going to be in the direct. Yeah, but
Engage should get
we
DLC.
might start to see it. Yeah.
Xenoblade, did it get DLC already?
It's supposed to.
So a lot of DLC. That's an easy way of just getting
Mario Rabbids.
That's true.
This is like going to be a DLC direct.
Tons of DLC on the way. That's the best way of kind of stretching out. You know, like the Swan Song is. We're just going to give you more of the games you already have.
Should have been Animal Crossing.
I was just about to ask you, is there any chance at all?
They said it's done.
It's done. Finished forever.
All their efforts are on Splatoon now.
Because I always think in the back of my head that the 3DS got that expansion out of nowhere. That game was dead for like years. And then they were like, boom, here's a campsite. And the game had a whole second life. And I just keep thinking that chance sits there, like it exists for Switch.
I can't let myself believe it because then I'll get sad.
Okay. If they do have a new system coming in the next 24 months, that would be a great way of maybe enticing people to transition. If they were like, and here's a little expansion to Animal Crossing New Horizons, which plays on the new Switch as best as it did on your old Switch. You know, that's the only thing that would keep me from that is like, I'm thinking like if they did have something like that, I would save it. But yeah, I was going to ask you about that. But you're saying it's dead.
Yeah, chat's asking, what do you mean all the efforts in Splatoon? What's happening with They're doing Splatfest and Big Run, and they did say that there's DLC happening for it. There's a lot of efforts because you guys got to know Splatoon is huge in Japan. It's big massive here, but it's bigger than Animal Crossing, which is hard to believe.
What did they do? Let's say
Um,
10 million in like a month or a week or something.
Something like that.
Something
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah,
Some stupid number.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I love Splatoon. I think Splatoon and Animal Crossing are two of my favorite franchises, and it's sad that like it's one or the other. I'm not gonna be able to enjoy both at the same time ever, probably in my life, but I guess at least it's consistent. Yeah. What do I want to see? Um, I feel so spoiled of what
Let
I'm
me
getting
ask you
already.
this, because you mentioned this earlier. Because I have something that I want to see. But you said so. I feel like we're missing a game, like that typical B tier game. Like we've got Kirby, something
Mhm.
between Kirby and Zelda. Now, I'm going to say this: throw this out of the window. Just throw this in the trash. If there is a Mario game coming that they plan on launching on the Switch this year, you said earlier you expect them to have a Mario game to come out with the movie
I
to
don't
take
mean
advantage
with
of
the
that. Right.
movie. I
But
mean this year. Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
I wasn't. I was thinking that they would mark down Odyssey or have like some sort of promotion, maybe have a bundle where they package some games together and they sell a bundle or something.
Nah.
So if there is a Mario game coming, throw this out the window. But if there isn't a Mario game coming, I feel like we're short something. We're short like a Yoshi. We're short something. I want it to be Donkey Kong. Like
I think it could be Donkey Kong.
the
I
time
think
feels right for Donkey Kong. Like I feel like the time is right for a Donkey Kong game. I don't know what
because
it's going to be. It could be a
I think
spin-off
what
Donkey Kong game.
happened with Donkey Kong was Retro Studios was working on something. They got pulled away from it to work on Metroid Prime 4. And now somebody else is making a Donkey Kong game. And I feel like this is the right amount of time that would be wrapping up.
I'm thinking
It's been a hot minute.
see in the chat, we've got XBS. He says there will be a Mario game of some kind. I'm thinking he says probably a spin-off. So I was thinking like a Donkey Kong spin-off, like some sort of Donkey Kong and Friends, Donkey Kong versus Mario, some sort of something like that. I would hopefully a little bit bigger, like maybe some sort of party game or something, but I don't know. It just feels we have Mario games. We don't have any Donkey Kong. You know, this is about that time where we start to see some little like we see Pikmin pop up. I know people want Star Fox, but we haven't had a Donkey Kong game in so long.
I think the reality is we're going to see Mario Sluggers come out in April, fresh off baseball season starting. It's going to be very bare bones like the other sports games. It's going to be very sad. It's going to be a budget title to kind of wrap up the year.
I like Sluggers. Sluggers is a lot of fun.
I would be so, but can you really be excited for it after seeing Golf and after seeing
Strikers? So I like Golf. Mario Golf is a good game. It's got a good single player game. It's just not the game.
You hated it when it came out
because it's not the game that I want at all. It's super easy, but like it's not bad. Strikers is bad. Strikers is bare bone. Like there's nothing too bare. Golf has a whole single player campaign. Like a whole thing that you can play. Strikers is just exhibition mode. That's a whole different
tennis.
Story. Yeah, tennis. That's not great. No, I mean you're right. You're right to expect that.
Mario Sports is just not as good on the Switch as it should be.
Especially Switch Sports. Especially after Switch Sports.
Oh yeah.
Golf is better than all of those.
So I think that's what is likely to happen. Is going to be like our B tier, whatever type thing that will happen. Hurts. I know. I'm sorry. There's already the rumors.
That hurts.
I'm sorry.
Well, there are rumors, but I actually think this is more than just a rumor because we did have Sakurai talk about Icarus. So we expect that port to show up at some point. That doesn't get me. I'm so not excited for that game at all.
Yeah. I don't think he would say anything if it was actually happening.
Oh, really? So you just like complete troll?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
What do you want to see? Donkey Kong?
Donkey Kong.
I want to see the Splatoon DLC.
I'm not going to say the Wii U ports that I want. I'm just not going to say it anymore. I'm just going to leave it alone. I think, they're... All right, I got a couple predictions. These aren't like predictions, but like a few things that I just think we might see on Switch come out this year. I was thinking about ports. So the Nintendo Switch probably isn't getting a lot of new games being ported. And, especially as more and more devs move on to PlayStation 5, Series X and PC development, I think the Switch will have less and less ports. But there are mobile-friendly games out there that I think might appear on Switch at some point, like Vampire Survivors. I 100% am not going to be surprised at all if there's a direct and they're like, Vampire Survivors is out now on Switch. Things like Marvel Snap. I wouldn't be surprised if Stray shows up one day. There's another game called Weird West, which is like very Switch-like. I could see it being very, I could see it making the transition over. So I was trying to think of good ideas that could come over. I don't know. Like I said, Donkey Kong, Paper Mario, Yoshi. I'm thinking of something in that B tier frame, and if the Sluggers is it, then that is disheartening. I was hoping something good.
I'm sorry.
John32 says Silk Song. I have been posting in our leaks and rumors chat that Silk Song apparently his metadata has been updated on the back end. That could mean absolutely nothing, but it could mean
copyright for an enemy or a boss name or something. That seemed cool.
Yeah. Seems to be a little buzz going around there somewhere. Yeah. Oxenfree?
Good one.
I like this jaded Rebecca. What happened to you since the year that I left? Who hurt you?
Oxenfree, I'm worried. That's my sports story.
I know.
Sports story. That's me with Oxenfree Lost Signals. I'm getting really nervous. That game was supposed to come out like 3 years ago.
No, it was supposed to come out last fall.
It was supposed to come out in 21. Fall
really?
21. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
And then
that.
it got moved to 22 and then nothing. And yeah,
I think it'll come out soon. I do think it'll come out soon. I think it comes out before June.
Okay. I hope so. I love that game.
We just hope it's good, though. That's what we hope. We hope that's good first. Just be good.
Yeah, be good. What is something unbelievable or unexpected that you hope?
Unbelievable.
Grez is working on a new 2D Zelda.
That would be awesome. Yeah, that would be kind of unbelievable.
It's not going to happen this year. That's why it's unbelievable.
Yeah, Metro Prime 4, I think, is unbelievable.
Every year is more believable than the last. It's got to come eventually.
To be honest with you, I don't know. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter rumoring a lot of things. I don't know. I think, you know what? What is it? The Switch Online thing, right? They should do something with that soon. Like, what are they doing? They're doing the 64 games, right? We got 007, and like they're gonna keep doing that. But like at some point, they should add Game Boy or something to it, right?
They're saving it for the next Switch.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that is kind of that's the area that we're in right now. Like, you have to realize. I hope all Switch fans are realizing, like, we're kind of on the end game.
Packing things
here.
up. Yeah.
We're
We're starting to put things in boxes and move into
things
our
will
next
start
home.
to get spaced out a little bit. I did see on Twitter folks talking about what were the like discounts, like price drops, whether they could do like bundles or permanently price drop games. You do like the selects line again, things like that. I think that makes sense. We're in that's the space that we're in now, where I could see a price drop on a system. Like, I don't know, like
That'd be
what's
cool.
the Switch? The Switch Lite still at 200?
Probably. I think everything is still at full price. I don't think we'll see a price drop if they're planning on increasing the number of, like, it's still selling. I don't why would they?
But the Switch Lite isn't, right? The Switch Lite isn't really selling. I think that was the thing, is the Switch Lite isn't really selling. So I was thinking, like, maybe you get the Switch Lite. Like, in my head, when I'm thinking with the Switch Lite, is 2DS, right? Like, you get it real cheap. Like, you get it as cheap as possible. Like, can they sell that at $149? Probably. This thing is so old at this point. They make so much overhead. If they're not selling a lot of those, maybe making that like super budget in a year where they have some games, where they have a Zelda game, where you have maybe a Mario game or something like that.
Okay,
I think maybe something like that would be good. I saw the Nintendo Selects. I think Game Explain was posting, like, the banner for the Nintendo Selects line. I would love to see that come back. I mean, obviously you could do Breath of the Wild at $40 or $30. You could do Odyssey. You could do ARMS. You could do all kinds of stuff. They don't have to, they
Remember
could.
when selects cost $20 and you could
Yes.
get like Mario Kart 8 at $20 on the Wii U?
They're not going to do Mario Kart because it's
No,
still
I know
selling like
they're not.
$90.
I know they're not.
Yeah,
But
but
like
some
$20
games that
was such a
aren't selling,
good hot price.
Kirby Star Allies, like these games that just don't, Yoshi, these games that aren't
Mm-hmm.
doing anything, Mario Maker, you
Mhm.
know, you could cut those in half and do something like that, a promotion. I think that might give the Switch a little extra juice as it, as it
As we
prepares
pack
to
up.
move on to the next thing. Yeah, I think that
Mhm.
I think that makes some sense right about now.
Mhm.
I don't know if they do that in a direct, but I
Mhm.
wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens. Those are just some of the things that I'm kind of looking out for.
Put Strikers at $5. Jules
That would
says in
make
chat.
sense. Yeah, it might be a
Still
little
too
high up
much.
there. 5 and below. 5 and below, Mario Strikers and Aces.
Do you remember Five Below had a bunch of 3DS games at one point? It had Tomodachi Life. It had Triforce Heroes.
I like Triforce. That's a good game.
A bunch of people bought those for $5.
Sure. Yeah. What they should do is they should do a sports triple pack where you get golf, strikers, and aces for
Ooh.
$60. You get all 3 of them.
That'd be okay
Yeah.
if you didn't already have any of them.
I don't think that they're going to do, like, to be clear, I don't think they're going to cut the price on the system, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some killer bundles. Like the Mario thing, like maybe they do like a Mario movie, like a box with a Switch with the Mario edition, and they throw in like Kart and Odyssey or something. Like that's the type of stuff that I'm thinking we might start to see, which is
Mhm.
not like a price drop, but they just make it really valuable. They just
And then
throw
for
a bunch of
families
stuff
where their
in.
kid is so excited to go see the Mario movie, they come back, kids not shutting up about Mario.
Maybe a
Okay,
special
let's
Joy-Con
get-
design that's like real simple,
Ugh,
but is
okay.
tied into them. Like I'm starting to wonder if there's
Collectors.
like some merchandising things to Switch this year.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There are Mario Red Joy-Con that never made it here. They were
That's right.
Japan
I
only
used
for
to have a
Odyssey.
pair. Yeah, I imported a pair.
Mhm. It was sad. Very sad. It was Japan only. Okay. Shall we jump into chat questions directly from
We
you?
shall. First question coming in from Jay, and we're hang on a second. We're at 118. Do you want to do all of these or just a handful?
Let's do all of them.
Okay, here we go. Jay says, would you rather have the Switch have a strong end of life and a lesser launch lineup for the next gen, or the reverse?
The reverse.
Just to be devil's advocate, I think you can make a really good case of the first because the Switch didn't have a strong lineup. It had Breath of the Wild in like 3 games. But it had Breath of the Wild and it was awesome.
It had the first year. It had Breath of the Wild. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I know, was a port, but I feel like that's a strong port, especially for a lot of people who didn't play it on the Wii U. It had Mario Rabbids. It had Mario Odyssey. I feel like it had a lot of strong.
It did in
games its
year
first
1.
year.
I was thinking
Yes.
just launch week, like launch day.
Oh.
Also, backwards compatibility. If that's a thing, that makes it
Mhm.
less of an issue, right? If
Mhm.
they can continue selling Switch software to whatever
That's
Switch,
important.
that's important. So if
Mhm.
it's backwards compatible, like I don't really care about the launch lineup.
I needed to have a strong beginning of life, or else I'm not going to get it right away.
Where I will, because I love new tech and I just want new
Yeah.
stuff. I actually didn't. I was thinking about getting the Razer Edge, and I the biggest reason why I didn't in the back of my head is I keep thinking to myself, I'm like, 18 months, you're just going to buy something new from Nintendo anyway. The Razer Edge is like a new gaming, one of those Android gaming things, but it's got an OLED screen and all that. But I didn't. I held off. Yarden says, I think it's only fair that Rebecca asked Donnie some new person questions. Like favorite Nintendo console, franchise, and game.
I mean,
That's-
there might be people who are listening who are relatively new and don't know these things about you.
That's true,
What is
because
your favorite Nintendo console?
I did a guest spot with you last year or something. I don't remember, but I do remember looking at YouTube, and some YouTube comment was like, "Who's this? Why is he here? I don't like his opinions as much." I think we argued, and I
Go
was
ahead,
like,
tell people. Tell us about yourself.
favorite
Let the people
Nintendo
know.
console is with a moving target. Every day you could ask me that question, I would come up with a different answer. It used to be my Wii U. It had a real special place in my heart, and I did love that console. But it's so hard to say that's your favorite now when the Switch basically is the Wii U, but
Mhm.
better. It just
Yeah.
It just took all of it. It's like its stepdaddy just took all of its children and left. So probably, I don't know, 64, 3DS, something like that. Favorite Nintendo franchise is Zelda. It'd probably be Zelda, Mario, and I think Fire Emblem has firmly replaced Pokemon. I have not enjoyed Pokemon in a few years now. And then favorite Nintendo game would be Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Am
Oh,
I
let's see
answering
here.
it, or-
Yeah, no. I was looking
Okay.
at chat. Sorry. Gotta remember, I don't read questions. This is new for me. So Obik says, what makes a game or franchise AAA? And does any first-party Nintendo IP fall into this category? Very curious to hear the two give your definitions here, because AAA is a concept in the gaming market that I really don't have a firm grasp of. I hear it in media and marketing all the time, but what earns a game that title?
That's a good question of like actually trying to define it. I mean, I think most of Nintendo IP are AAA just because, like, I know we were talking about some of them being like, B tier or C tier, types of games, but
Sure.
I feel like AAA games are games that are developed and published from the big guys, from
Yeah,
Nintendo,
that's
from
right.
Microsoft, from Sony, even Ubisoft.
Major publisher. I would answer.
Major
So
publishers. Yeah.
Sean says, just ask Jack. Did you listen to PSVG this week?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so this question has context because Jack came and asked me what AAA games were coming out this year. He said big AAA games. And I told him
Okay.
to go watch the Xbox Direct because they had games that were just shown. And he told me, his response to me was, I mean real big AAA games like Halo and Mario, not Hi-Fi Rush. And then I lost it on him. We had this whole debate and argument of what this means.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
What this means, AAA, just it's dumb because all games are games, but AAA means games that come, in my opinion, AAA games are games that come from prominent publishers.
Yes.
All console providers, Take-Two, EA, Ubisoft, Square Enix, these companies make their bones at investing and making not just video games, but typically the biggest and most stylish, fashionable, pushing video games they can.
And even all of those publishers' smaller games to me are still AAA.
I agree.
Games.
I would agree with
There's
you.
different levels to what what kind
Sure.
of tier those games are, but that I feel like AAA is more of a publisher type of definition.
I agree.
Not a game type of definition.
And it's hard because you can have indies that can make really big indie games that feel like they're kind of getting there. And we used to call those B tier games. We used to have a bunch of them, THQ and stuff like that. And that's really where the space is kind of left. And I think that's why this gets harder and harder to follow now, because essentially I feel like we just have polarity. You have indie games on one side and you've got big publisher games on the other side. And we very rarely get a lot of stuff in the middle, where we used to have a lot of stuff in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's what's disappeared, is the middle part. And also as tools improve, like with Unreal Engine 5 and the advancements of Unity and stuff, we are starting to get indie type games that feel AAA. Like we are starting to get some products that are definitely like in that space, budget wise. So
Hollow Knight feels like it should be, but
exactly.
it's not.
It's every bit as good as others that have done it. But in my mind, when people say AAA, they're more or less referring to a major publisher that's publishing, and basically that project is back behind money in the sense that if it fails, they're not going away. Whereas like an indie game, if it fails, that studio might close forever. Like there's a difference in how that works. So I think we're in agreement.
Good
there.
Explanation.
Kyle asks, Sack question for tomorrow. If they were to announce a new Donkey Kong game in a future direct, would you rather see a 2D or a 3D version of the game? My answer is 2D. I would much rather see a 2D version of Donkey Kong, but here's my actual answer. I would love to see something different. Like not Donkey Konga, but a spinoff. Do something weird and different with Donkey Kong. I would love for them to take like an old school, like Donkey Kong arcade type of thing, like an NES remix on a Donkey Kong, or like something that is nostalgic to Donkey Kong's roots, but modernizes it today. That's what I really want. Something else, like a puzzle game or an arcade game or something like that. Maybe like what do we have? We had like the Mario 30, right? Like the little
Mhm.
game they used to have, like something weird like that with Donkey Kong would be awesome.
That would be cool. I think Donkey Kong obviously does a lot better in the 2D space. I don't think I would get the game either way if it was 2D or 3D, but if they did do something new and interesting that would capture my attention, that would potentially bring me into the game to buy it.
Yeah. Grouchy says, "What will I do without my fill of Atelier?"
It's
I don't know what
Atelier.
that is. Atelier series? I don't know what
Stop
that
it.
is.
Stop
I don't
it.
know what that is.
Sorry,
I don't know what that
Grouchy.
is. Sorry. I mean, Josh writes, "My Switch Pro has been neglected due to the Steam Deck, but I see there is a buy one, get one half off at Target on Sunday. Can you give me 2 great newish game recs to bring my Switch back into life?"
Josh, I
Here,
know you didn't play Live Alive. Play it.
I don't know if that's in the sale. I don't think it
I
is,
don't
but
care. I don't care.
yeah, it
I know
doesn't
you
matter.
haven't, Josh. I don't care. Play it.
This is where I'd like to talk about that other game that I was playing, because I also am not going to recommend the games that are in the sale. I looked at the Target sale, Josh. There's not a lot of great stuff there. You can buy Nier Automata, and I hear the port on Switch is pretty good. But I don't think you're going to play that. And I didn't see a whole lot of other things in the Target deal, unless you want to, like, it's a good time to, if you want to double dip on something, it's a good time to get something on discount. But I am playing a game that I just bought on the eShop. It just launched. It's $14.99. I think I paid. I think it's a pre-order discount or a early access discount if you buy it. And it is called Super Fashion Police, and it's Game of the Year. It is the funniest. I'm gonna post a bunch of videos and it's the funniest shit I've ever seen. It's hilarious. Here's the elevator pitch for this game, Rebecca. You with me? It's a boomer shooter. It's a retro like Doom, Quake, Duke Nukem thing, right? It's
Boomer
very
shooter?
colorful.
Is that it? Wait, is that a term now? Boomer
That's a
shooter?
thing. Yeah. Boomer shooter.
What is that?
Like old school Doom, Quake, Duke
Boomer?
Nukem. Yeah, that's what they call them, boomer shooters.
Like boomers?
I think, yes.
Like old people?
Yes. Look, you
Johnny!
can Google it. You can Google it. What is a boomer shooter? A brief history of first-person shooter games.
We're not that old.
It's classic. Classic FPS is what it means.
We're not that old.
In gamer years, we're ancient.
We're not boomers.
If you played Doom, like just Doom, not with a number or something, if you just played Doom in gamer years, you're forever old. Like if you know what those games are. Anyway, let me get back to the point. Here's the elevator pitch. You're a cop who goes around shooting people that have bad style. So there are these people that walk around and they're called drags, and they wear they're gray, and they either have like sagging pants or dull suits, or suits don't fit well, and you shoot them, and when you shoot them they pop in color in like this voice thing like, "Damn, fabulous," and they explode in color and stuff, and you can whip people with your belt and you can grapple and shoot, and when you do a lot of it you get a power up where you have this glittery glove and you go around smacking the shit out of people.
What is this called?
It's called Fashion
Squad.
Police Squad. It is the funniest game.
Oh, it
It's
does
like-
look like a boomer shooter.
It is and it's super pretty actually. It's like this very pixely,
Yeah.
boxy, like kind of like The Tourist, colorful shooter. And it's like a 70s exploitation movie in a video game. It's got stupid little billboards and stuff, and I bought it yesterday because I wanted to play something new.
What, $15?
Yeah, and it runs great on Switch. It's super fast and fluid and bright and colorful. There's no issues on Switch. It makes the transition to Switch very well, and I love it. Like I was playing, I was sending Dev pictures and stuff. I'm like, this is the best thing I've played in a long time. Like this is
So
great.
basically, Josh is gonna listen
It's-
to this podcast and go buy Fashion Police
That's
Squad
right.
and Live Alive.
Like Pootie Tang the game. Like just smack this. I'm telling you, when I post this video, you've got to see this guy just go there and just slap people. Just
I love it.
oh, it's so good. So good. Definitely go play that.
Okay.
Andy P writes, for those of you on Shack that play Splatoon 3, that'd be one of
Me.
us. Are you constantly getting communication errors and dropped errors
No.
I find it more frustrating than I did in the previous series.
No, I did a little bit in the beginning. I haven't really lately. Like very occasionally. Usually it's the person I'm playing with. It might be you, Andy. I hate to say
Is a
that,
big
but,
reason why I decided to trade the game in. Actually, I kept getting that a
really?
lot. Yeah, it was plagued by
I oh. It was worse in the beginning. I would say it's better now. And if you're still getting it now, try if you have the OLED, try the Ethernet connection. I don't use the Ethernet connection. I don't have problems with it. But I feel like if you don't get that on other games, I don't know. I don't. I'm sorry, Andy.
Sean writes in, how has Nintendo created this hold on us that even when we try to leave, we always come back asking for a friend?
Because they make great games.
That's true. That's me. I'm the friend. I would say that Nintendo, for all of us, for most of us, I think, the people listening to this show for sure, so I'll say all of us, we all grew up with it, and a lot of those series and games and franchises have a tie on our hearts and our nostalgia a bit. And even when they release, something new, you want to experience it. So you can never quite leave. Now, I will say I have not played as much Switch in the last year than I have in previous years.
But you're still here.
I'm still here. Yeah, like when they release a game that I'm excited, like I bought Switch Sports. Like when they release something that I think could be good, I'm there. I just don't think the releases were there for me. But I think that's changing. I have a list of games on Switch this year that I'm actually excited and planning to buy on Switch, and my list is long. It's more than 10. I'm at least buying 10 games this year. So, yeah, at least that's how I would answer it.
Mm-hmm.
G-Man says, anything you would want in the upcoming Direct that'll be soon? What is something you feel like is like Groundhog Day?
Rossetti from Animal Crossing.
That's good.
Groundhog Day. Give me more Animal Crossing content. Do it, Nintendo.
I mean, Advance Wars, yeah. Like here's Advance Wars, and I don't know if they drop it like it's out today. I don't think so, because they're still going to sell retail copies. But if it's out in April or whatever, like Advance Wars, I was all in, pre-ordered and everything. Like I still have a pre-order in for that. They just delayed it like a year. Like I paid that game off 2 years ago. So yeah, and I'm excited. I think that's a really great way of bringing that franchise back. It's basically like 2 games like remastered and put back together, new art style. Like yeah, I'm all in on it. So please let that show up soon. Mm-hmm. And then our final question comes in from Brendan. If a true sequel to one of your favorite Nintendo games were to finally come out, but you had to play 3 of Nintendo's worst games in your opinion, what would be those games and what would the sequel be?
What? So I'm trading. I have to put up with 3 bad games to get the game I want.
Let's do this in phases. What are Nintendo's 3 worst games?
On the Switch?
Sure. Let's call it that. Yeah.
Strikers, Sports Story. Not Sports Story, Switch Sports.
Sports, and you could say sports. I don't think you're not wrong. And anything Final Fantasy, right? That'd be the third one.
What? No, I like what? No. And 1-2 Switch.
Sure, good one. Okay, so Strikers, Switch Sports, and 1-2 Switch. So you have to play all 3 of those games for a significant amount of time, and then in order to do that, you get 1 sequel to a game on Switch that you want. What would that game be?
Yeah, that's easy. I can do that.
What would your game be?
A sequel to a game that I love. I'm getting it. I'm getting Tears of the Kingdom. That's my dream.
Something that doesn't exist. A different one. Quit fighting the question.
Live Alive 2.
My answer will be Astral Chain 2. I love Astral Chain and would definitely love a sequel. And I would play those. I've played those games. I actually have played those games already, except for Strikers. I skipped that bullet. That's one bullet I didn't take.
I mean, I played all 3 of the ones that I said, so I got through them once. I can get through them again.
But I would play those for an Astral Chain 2. That's an easy sacrifice to make. Yeah. And that's it. Those are the questions. We did it.
We did it. Donnie, it feels good. Garrett's awake. He's in chat now. He's up.
Who?
He wants to know what he missed. Who?
We talked about Atelier.
Atelier.
Huh? This feels good. This feels great.
I'm so excited. I finished my coffee. I'm feeling awake. I have one more sip.
Cheers. I'm done. I'm out.
I'm
How you
feeling
like my
awake,
coffee?
ready to start my day. Bright-eyed and
Shack
bushy
up.
tailed. That's a good mug.
I liked it. That's exciting.
Wow.
Gotta have
like
it.
that. Very good. I'm gonna try to showcase my mugs on my coffee mugs on each episode so that you can see that I'm awake. I'm ready to go.
Shack
Starting off our
Sundays.
Sunday strong. Shack Sundays. I like that. Hashtag Shack Sundays.
That's it.
That is it. All right. I hope that next week we will be able to talk about a Nintendo Direct. Hopefully lots of fun stuff happens. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
good time.
Yep. 'Tis the season. We're to get back
Tis
into
the
it.
season.
It's gonna be amazing,
Absolutely.
Rebecca. We're getting Donkey Kong, Metroid Prime, Star Fox is back, Icarus is back. You know, there's a deep part of me that wants Nintendo to have a fucking blowout just to put VGC like in its place.
That
Like,
would
could
be
you
so
imagine
fun.
if they were just like, here's 7 first-party bangers all coming out August, September, October, November.
See, this is the dangerous stuff, and then you're gonna watch the direct and be like, "Yeah, that was mid."
Yeah, well, this is life. Tis the life of a Nintendo fan.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the hype. Eat the hype.
That's it. Nailed it.
Eat the hype. All right. Thank you all for listening to our first episode of the new season of the Nintendo at Shack podcast. There is a lot more goodness to come. Shack Sundays. See you next week.
Goodbye.